Mochena Borago is a late Pleistocene rock shelter located on Mount Damoda in southwest Ethiopia. The rock shelter is situated between the southwest Ethiopian highlands and the main Ethiopian rift. The surrounding environment is best described as deciduous forest in the highlands and several convitrum or acacia woodlands and bushlands in the rift and lowlands. So Mount Damoda is just north of the main city of Soto in the Late Soto region. Mount Damoda is a 2.9 million-year-old trachytic volcano, which overlies the Nazareth pyroclastic rocks of the surrounding region. Mount Damoda is dominated by Pliocene porphyritic and orthoclase phenocryst trachytes, and the Pliocene volcanic activity of Mount Damoda is likely driven by the volcanism associated with the rift margin, occurring with the transversely cross-cutting Gobabunga structure. The Gobabunga structure runs roughly perpendicular to the rift from east to west. Mount Damoda is further overlain by Pleistocene alluvial and lacustrine deposits that are innervated between Pleistocene pyroclastic material as well as rare basalt flows. These deposits of innervated pyroclastics and high-energy sedimentary deposits are really well seen in the stratigraphic record of Mochena Borago. Roger Yossam and Xavier Guterres of the Group for the Study of Prehistory of the Horn of Africa began excavations of Mochena Borago in 1998. Their primary focus was on the mid to late Holocene food production within the Horn of Africa via archaeological excavation, and they ended their excavations of Mochena Borago in 2001. Stephen Brandt and Elizabeth Hildebrand of the University of Florida and Stony Brook University started their field program, the Southwest Ethiopian Archaeological Program, in 2006. It originally began as an initiative to show how the southwest Ethiopian highlands may have acted as a refugium to migrant hunter-gatherers between the arid MIS 2 and 4. They hypothesized that this migration may be a push into further dispersal into Europe and a driver for unique lithic technologies during the late Pleistocene. The primary focus within the rock shelter includes the lithics, ochre, paleobotany, and other archaeological or mammalian artifacts and remains. In 2009, Stephen Brandt's sweep collaborated with Ralph Vogelsong and his team at the University of Cologne's Collaborative Research Center 806, who also examined Holocene deposits as evidence of early Homo sapien dispersal out of Africa and into Europe. This was until the team's departure until 2014. Since then, SWEEP has continued excavations of Mochena Borago, excavating into deeper deposits that span into MIS 3 and 4, with radiocarbon dates that exceed the radiocarbon upper limit at greater than 50,000 years ago. Mochena Borago stands about 70 meters in length, 12 meters tall, and extends into the sides of Damoda at most about 20 meters. It contains over 2 meters of late Pleistocene age anthropogenic and geologic deposits, driven by a number of alluvial, fluvial, and human components. Excavations of Mochena Borago that took place between 1996 and 2008 first placed hunter-gatherer occupation of the site upwards of 53,000 years ago. Occupation of this rock shelter was continuous through this time until roughly 10,000 years later, when a volcanic eruption, radiocarbon dated to about 45,000 years ago, occurred and deposited about 20 centimeters of thick ash across the rock shelter. This was followed by a small period of occupation and then another eruption about 43,000 years ago of a different volcanic origin. Then another occupation at 42,000 years ago overlays this volcanic layer. At some point after this time frame in the archaeological and geologic record, an unconformity wiped out the record of the area, spanning from 37,000 years ago to 7,000 years ago. Another eruption, about 7,000 years ago, constrains this short unconformity in time between the anthropogenic deposits. And following this period, occupation has been persistent well into modern times. Understanding the geology of Mochena Borago is vital to understanding how the occupants utilized it and how its placement along the rift and near the southwest Ethiopian highlands influenced the subsequent dispersal and movement of these occupants. Even after 25 years of research at the site, the depositional history of the anthropogenic layers within Mochena Borago are still not well understood. It's complex and discontinuous in part because of the anthropogenic influence on these deposits, but also because of the irregular sediment deposition and the occupation of the site. As more research is done at this site, we will continue to uncover new history to our collective story of early Homo sapiens in this region, and greater detail of the environments that they traversed.